Hello. I've come back home from work really nice and early, which is lovely, so I'm planning on going for a run in a little bit. My other plans for tonight aren't anything crazy, it's all very chill. I don't have loads to do. I've got one video that I would really like to edit, but I need to film an intro and an outro for it, so that's all sort of one package. I might just like clean a little bit. I think most of it's actually not bad. I did I did a little bit last night, but I might just go over it. We've got some laundry that I need to fold, but that's about it really. I need to film a Dear Hopefuls video because I didn't do one yesterday, and usually we've said now that we can have 2 days, so I'm gonna do that if I remember. I mean, obviously the whole running package will take up the most amount of time between warming up, running, cooling down, all of that, showering, everything. But aside from that, I feel like I've got a pretty chill evening ahead, which is quite nice. So I'm gonna prep for running and chill a little bit before I go out, and then I will see you whenever I decide to give you the next update. Bye! Hello. I was hoping to get a free ticket for a show tonight, but it didn't happen, and that's okay. I'm actually feeling quite tired. I'm a little bit sore. I went for a run yesterday and things are hurting. So I'm just gonna give myself a nice and chill night this evening and probably have an early night, to be honest. That's kind of how I'm feeling. I've just finished, well, I've almost finished. I'm listening to the Q&A, but I've finished the crux of the book that I was reading, which is called The Understudy, and it was really grating on me. So I'm very glad to be done with it, but we'll see what we do. I'm not feeling particularly motivated. I was feeling much more motivated when I was at work, and then it got to sort of like 2-3 o'clock and I really felt like I was hitting a wall. And I still enjoyed work and like it didn't go super slow or anything, but I think I need to eat something, or I don't know, like I'm just feeling very flat. So that's where we're at the moment, and we'll see how the evening progresses. I'll see you later. Hello. The last 2 days I've been working at the new job and I've just been feeling really good, really good. I've enjoyed this job from the get-go, but I think because it was just starting out, there was so much work to be done and redone again. And I feel like more or less, still not entirely, but we've sort of come over most of those hurdles. And I feel like almost everything is in place, and any of the bigger tasks that we have to do are for new things rather than repeating old things and just slightly changing it. And I feel like I'm getting into more of a groove with how things work and, you know, not having to ask questions about everything. So overall, I'm feeling really good. On top of that, our boss ordered us takeaway for lunch today, so that was a big win. Maybe skewing my opinion slightly, who's to say? But I think even without that, I would have felt this way. But obviously that does make me feel better. Now, in about half an hour, just under, I think, I need to go out because I am getting a haircut. My first haircut that I'm getting done in probably about 4 or 5 years. Was it during COVID? I can probably check back like footage and see when the last time was. It might actually be more recent. I have a feeling I had it done in London. Anyway, I'm very excited because, well, I'm mixed. I have needed my hair cut for months now because it's just really dead at the end, really dead. On the flip side of that, I really like having longer hair. I know people often tell me that they like it when I cut it shorter, but I don't. I've always preferred longer hair. My hair doesn't grow very fast and never grows very long. So like this is, gosh, when did I last cut it? I think I last cut it July last year. So this is only a year's worth. And like, admittedly, I did cut it quite short. So like, I probably have grown that much. And because it's curly, like it probably is a significant amount, but you don't notice it as much. And basically, the only reason why I'm getting it done by a professional rather than by me, because that's always how I used to cut my hair, is because my cousin mentioned this hairdressing place where they are students looking for like models to do haircuts on. And she sort of signposted me in the right direction, and I've been keeping an eye out, but a lot of them are during the day when I'm working. But there was one that was today after work, and it's also a little bit closer to home. And I was just like, yeah, why not? And I actually saw this a few days ago, maybe even a week ago, and I was like, I'm definitely gonna sign up for that. And then the next day, I could not find the post back. I couldn't even find my message to the person, like I DM'd them, and I was just like, okay, maybe it's not happening. And so not just did I make peace with that, I was also like, oh, actually, I'm happy about that because I don't want to cut my hair. But then I got a message from them yesterday to say, are you still on for tomorrow? And I said, sure. But they messaged me that after I washed my hair, and I don't know if they're gonna wash my hair today. I'm not sure. If they're not, then I'm glad I washed my hair yesterday. If they are, then I wish I hadn't, but we'll see. It is unbelievably humid and also like spitting outside. So obviously that's not ideal because it is going to be a cut and blow dry. I don't even know what blow dry means. Like, are they gonna shape it a certain way, or is it gonna be like straight? I have no idea. I have no idea. But either way, I know that a blow dry doesn't do particularly well in like humid, wet, damp weather. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be really nice to like have. The thing is, I really enjoy professionals like playing with my head and my hair. So that's the treat for me. I don't even care so much about getting the haircuts, but then it is good that like a semi-professional is going to be looking at it and actually cutting off all the dead bits, because there's a lot. But I am sorry because I like my hair. I also really like the way it's sitting today. It's like come out quite well. But yes, I just want to give you the before. Toss. And I'll show you the after when I'm back. I also have no idea how long it's gonna take. Like, it could just be an hour or so. I think that's usually how long appointments take, like maybe 40 minutes to an hour. But it could be significantly slower if they need to like assess certain steps, and I don't know. We shall see. But I'm gonna get changed and I'm going to drink some water and then get ready to go again. I'll see you after. Hello, I am back. They did wash my hair, which on the one hand, I'm very happy about. But on the other hand, I'm like, oh, I wish I knew that yesterday. When I sat down and she asked me how much do you want to cut, I said, just the dead ends. I know there's a lot of it, but just the dead ends. And then she had a look and went, actually, like, it's not as dead as you think it is. There's not as much I need to cut off. And I was like, awesome, amazing. And then she said, so given that, how much would you like to cut off? And I turned to her and I said, in an ideal world, I would not be getting my hair cut, but I want it to be healthy. Do with that what you will. I am the worst when it comes to like hairdressers. I love leaving it up to them. They know what's best, usually. But obviously, because she's training, she wasn't quite as confident. She was great overall. I had a very good experience, but I would say that you could tell she just wasn't as confident. So I got the hair washed, got it cut. It is a bit shorter, like you can tell, but it's not like as drastic as I thought. I thought it was gonna be like a proper chop. And then she also asked me in terms of blow drying, do you want it to be straight or do you want to just diffuse the curls? And I thought, let's go with diffusing the curls. It's so funny, on the way back, I was thinking to myself, I paid a flat fee for this and they said, you know, this is going to be the fee. I could have asked for absolutely anything. And I went with the most basic, like shortest trim, back to my curls, like just didn't change anything really, or as little as possible. So a small part of me is like, oh, I should have been more adventurous, but then the other part of me is like, no, I'm very happy that I didn't have to chop loads off. I've got my curls, like I'm comfortable with what I've got. Well, actually it's growing on me now, but when she dried my hair, I wasn't thrilled about the way it looked. But I think now that I'm more happy than I was. I'll show you the back. I think the back's not as nice. I could be wrong. It does feel healthy, and like that's always the main thing for me when I get a haircut. It was a very interesting experience though, because I definitely did some things or had to do some things that I've never done before. For example, stand up for the haircut. I had to stand for the haircut, and then I also had to, I don't even know how to describe this, sort of really lean back in my chair with my neck all the way back for the blow drying bit. And the sitting back wasn't so much a problem, but the leaning the neck back did get a bit sore. Although it wasn't sore at all when it was washed, and she did a great head massage. So, you know, overall, it was a really good experience and I think good value for money. I'm also curious to see sort of over the course of the next few days, and then obviously once I do my own hair wash, how it turns out and how it feels and looks and all that. But it does feel more like healthy, and that's the main thing, as I said before. And it was really quick. I think the whole thing was maybe 35 minutes, like it really wasn't very long. So I'm thrilled about that because I haven't like lost my evening to this. Anyway, I'm gonna chill for a bit and rest my knee because I went for a very long run yesterday and now it's sore. And I might see you later. We shall see. Only be what I've been. Look how fast it runs away, singing follow close and reach for me. Can you see it too? This is ready. Hello, couple of things to talk about. I'm leaving in about 20 minutes or so, no less, 10 minutes to go to my grandma's for Shabbat supper. First of all, I definitely feel the hair is shorter, but it's so much healthier, so that's obviously very good. But it's also like puffed up, and I presume it's just from like the heat and the humidity, because wow, it is quite something. And also probably just because it's healthier. I don't know, does that make sense? I don't know. But I was thinking today, like aside from the fact that it's a little bit shorter, it doesn't really feel like I've changed anything, and I'm so glad about that. Like, I'm so glad that my hair is just exactly where it was 2 days ago. I've had 1 or 2 haircuts in the past. Usually, like, as I say, I'm not very fast when it comes to my hair, which is why usually if I do go to the hairdresser, I totally leave it up to them. But there's been, I think, 2 times where they've done whatever they've done. I don't know whether it's too short or layers or weird cuts, I don't know. And it looks gorgeous when they've like blow dried it and whatever, but then as soon as I do my first hair wash, I'm like, actually, this is horrendous. So I'm glad that I don't feel that way. Not horrendous, that's an exaggeration. I have never cared that much about my hair, but just harder to manage. It just feels harder. Like, my hair is already hard to manage, but with the wrong haircut, it's even harder to manage. And I'm grateful that I'm not in that position right now. It's been another very hot day, and I'm not thrilled about it, but I believe from tomorrow onwards, we're meant to have a week of rain, which I really hope. Still not cold, so like it's still gonna be around 21, 22 degrees, which is ridiculous, but I'll take what I can get. That being said, I am very warm and not happy about it. I'm fairly certain there was some other stuff I wanted to share with you guys, but it's all gone out the window in my brain. So I guess I'm just gonna leave it here and I will see you all. I know what I was gonna talk about. I don't actually know if I've got enough time to get into all this. Let's have a little chat, shall we? Just about emotions and feelings. I feel like at least once a year you get a chat like this from me, and it's always triggered by something else. And I feel like I can actually pinpoint exactly what's triggered it this time, but there's been a few factors. Basically, I'm just feeling like quite nostalgic and consequently anxious. And I didn't even realize that the anxiety was underlying. I just felt the nostalgia for the last, call it, week or 2. But then yesterday, like as I was waiting for Wayne to get home, I was feeling mildly anxious. I was like, okay, there's something there, but like it's not, not overwhelming. And then literally the second he walked through the door, I just got up and I was like, I can't even explain like how I felt, but it was like the second he walked through the door, I could just release all of it. It was the weirdest experience because I don't rely on other people. I never have. And usually that crash will hit me either because someone said a specific something that's like really tipped me over the edge, or because I'm, finally alone, or it's nighttime and I can't sleep and like suddenly it's hit me. So I don't know, like it was such a weird, sudden experience and it's still like bubbling. It's not terrible. Luckily, I really know how to manage my anxiety and I'm very grateful to like be able to identify it and say, right, this is happening right now. We're not gonna let it sort of, affect our day to day. And thankfully I can do that. I know that not everyone has that ability, but it's there. And I know what happened to make me start sort of getting into this mindset. And then I think after that, I bumped into those friends from Australia. And then I get like memories and stuff from, like however many years ago. And that comes up. And then I was speaking to a friend. And then I had a dream. It's always the dreams. It's the dreams that really get me. I've had a few dreams, I would say in the last like month or so. And they've all been related to school. And they always bring me back into this sort of like anxious, nostalgic kind of place. So I just want to share that because it's on my mind. I'm not suffering. It's really, really strange. I don't know if other people have anxiety experience this, but for me, like as I said earlier, it's not debilitating necessarily. It doesn't affect my day-to-day life. It's just something that's there. And in a way, again, maybe I should be talking to a therapist about this instead of just like randomly on the internet. But a small part of me is like, there's a comfort in that because I know this feeling and it means it's a feeling that I'm like, I know I felt then. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. It's not the end of the world, thankfully. And I'm just like letting it exist and trying to move on with my life aside from it. But what I did just realize, like literally 20 minutes ago when I was looking back at some of these old pictures and whatnot, as most people do, most of my life, or at least most of the last number of years, there's always been something that I'm like, oh, when I get to do this, then not necessarily then I'll be happy because I've always been happy, but like then I'll be even happier, for example, or like that's what I'm working towards, but not like a goal, just like something I know is going to happen in X amount of months or years. I'm being vague, but not intentionally, like actually, because that's just, it can be applied to anything. And I've always had that sort of reflection and nostalgia and like missing the past, but also the like yearning for something that's going to happen in the future. And I feel like I'm finally at a stage where there's nothing in the future that I'm sort of aching for or, like waiting to happen. I can't explain it because like obviously I want to grow my career as an actor and, you know, be on the West End or in films and TV, and like obviously those are all things I'm working towards, but I don't think it's anything like tangible. It's not like, oh, once I graduate so and so, or oh, once I move to England so and so. Like those were all specific things that were gonna happen, whereas obviously like my career is up in the air. Maybe it would be different if I like had a role lined up and I was sort of, you know, aching towards that, but because I don't, I'm just like, yeah, I'm loving life. And yeah, I'm looking back and being like, oh, I miss the past, because I always miss the past. That's just inherently who I am. But at least it's only one-sided, and I'm very content in the now. I always am, since I left Australia at least. I really think since I left Australia, I've been content and happy in the now, but always had something that I was like waiting for. And I feel like I'm not now, and that feels good. Because people always tell you like, oh, live in the present, and it's so hard. But I feel like it's just happened. I haven't had to do anything for that. It has just happened, and I'm very grateful for that. Sorry, this was a little bit like weirdy, windy, thoughts spewing end of the week. I can't wait to sleep in tomorrow. But yeah, my brain was just moving along, and I took you guys along for the ride. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about, or if you think I am the weirdest person ever. And I will probably see you all after Shabbat at some point. Ciao! I don't know. Bye. Hello, today's been a pretty chill day. I did have to go into work today. Usually on Sundays I work from home, and initially like I wasn't really looking forward to it, but actually it was fine, and I got to meet a new person in our team, so it was all good. And it was still very chill, so nothing major. And I honestly feel at the moment like I've got such a good balance of working, keeping busy, you know, editing videos, running and those kinds of things, but then also having enough downtime to catch up on YouTube videos or, you know, whatever else I'm in the mood to do. And on the one hand, of course, I can always use more free time. You know, there's definitely more things I could be doing. But on the flip side, I'm very glad to have running as something to fill some of the time, because I kind of feel like I'd maybe get a bit bored if I didn't have that. I'm finally getting my evenings back and sort of working a regular, easy-ish schedule. So I feel good about that. I feel really good about that. I'm actually hoping to go for a run this afternoon, evening-ish. Basically, I am ready to go for a run, except obviously I need to get changed and warm up and all that. But it suddenly got sunny and warm when it was rainy. Before it was also warm, but it was rainy at least. And so I'm just going to see if I can wait for the heat to pass down a little bit. Pass down? Cool down? Pass? I don't know. So that's where we're at the moment. I'm hoping I can edit a video as well today, a vlog. But aside from that, things are up in the air. Wayne and I had a really productive night last night. I mean, he only got home quite late, but we just spent like an hour or two cleaning things, organising things, just making the whole place a bit nicer. And I definitely appreciate that. It feels much nicer and easier to sort of walk into and be in. Anyway, those are all the updates for now. I will see you all later. Bye. Hello. I am home. Hello. I am home earlier than I was expecting, which is nice. Today is Wayne's birthday, and for a while we didn't know what the day was going to look like, and we didn't know sort of what we were going to do when he gets home, which isn't until 8:30. But in the end, he asked me I offered obviously to prepare a meal, and he's asked me, very simple actually, for pasta with bolognese sauce and garlic bread and chips. And I then asked him, real chips, or are you happy enough with roast potatoes? Because I made some really good roast potatoes last night, and I boiled loads of potatoes and there's still quite a lot left, so I could probably use those. And also our freezer is tiny anyway and very full, so I was a bit worried about potentially having to squeeze chips in there. And luckily he said he was very happy with roast potatoes, so gotta not mess it up today. I'm wearing a ring. I never wear rings. I got this new jewellery stand, which I'm so happy about. I've been wanting it for years. Not this one specifically, but just something to display my jewellery. I have it in Australia, I don't have it here. And anyway, doesn't matter, that's a long story. But I've got it now, and when I did my hand modelling years ago, I got a pack of like 10 rings. And obviously I don't wear rings much. I think I did a whole thing where I tried to wear all my rings in the space of like 2 weeks. And then I think I decided I wanted to get rid of most of them, so I gave them to my sister, but I kept 3 for myself. And now that they're out on display, I was just like, I wonder, like, I enjoy, you know, being able to actually see all my jewellery rather than just going based off what I know. So I decided to put it on, and even when I put it on, I was like, I'm not sure I'm a fan of this. But I don't love wearing it, but there is something about like when I'm at work or whatever, it feels like it sort of elevates me. It's really weird. and I enjoy like fiddling with it, so that's a win. But anyway, I went to the shops, I got some flowers, I got some fizzy drink. I really wanted to get, Wayne is the one who introduced me to Tango, and I really wanted to get a big thing of Tango, but the only flavour they had was cherry, and I think I do actually like cherry, but Wayne's convinced that I don't, and so he's now convinced me that I don't, and I just don't know, so I went with the safer option. Got some vegetarian mince, and usually when we make bolognese, I literally just throw this in and that's it. But I was looking it up today, and there are like actual bolognese recipes, so I'm not gonna stick to them, you know, to the letter or anything, but they have inspired me, you know, to add some onions and garlic and flavors, so I'm gonna do that, which is also why I bought some chopped tomatoes, because I will add that. And then Wayne loves cheesecake, so I got these. There were actually 2 different goûts, which to me looked better, but I think if I remember correctly, Wayne really likes lemon, so I went with this one. Garlic bread, because I can do homemade, but like it's not as nice, and it's his birthday, and price difference is not much, so that's okay. And then I've got some candles. I don't even know if they'll go on these cheesecake things, but I thought something. I was trying to think for a long time, because I really wanted in theory to get balloons, but I don't really like balloons in terms of the environment, and also the fact that you can't reuse them. Like I have a problem with that. So I was thinking, you know, if I can get like streamers or flags or something that we can reuse and also is better for the environment just in general. But I couldn't find anything, so candles is all we've got. I think my plan for the evening is, because as I say, Wayne's not home for another like 2 hours or so, 3 hours. I want to prep the pasta and bolognese, I think. Well, maybe not even the pasta. I definitely want to prep the bolognese. I feel like that's the biggest task, and that's very easy to reheat. Maybe the pasta. I don't need to do much with the roast potatoes, I just need to make sure they go on time. But as long as Wayne texts me when he's leaving work, it should be okay. So I'm gonna get started with that. And then I've made a list of exercises for my knee pain. I don't know if I've discussed that in my vlogs. I've spoken about it loads in my like half marathon videos, but I would like to do some of those. I want to clear the dried up dishes and stuff from the washing up. I would like to edit a video if I can get round to that, and we'll see what else. I don't know if I'm gonna have much time aside from that, but the very first thing I'm gonna do is have an apple. I will put things away in the fridge and then have an apple. Also, just for the record, I was actually gonna get 2 of these, one of the ones I liked more and then this one, but then I remembered, again, everything is very full already, but also we have salted caramel ice cream in the freezer, so we can always have that as dessert if we're craving more. Okay, I think that's all the updates. I'm gonna start off by eating an apple because I'm hungry. Did I mention that already? I don't know. And I will see you at some point in this whole process, I'm sure. Yay! Hello. I think my sauce is too runny and I really want to thicken it up, and a lot of websites say to use potato starch, and I have potato starch that I desperately want to use up, but it is too far in the cupboard for me to reach, and I want it to be ready by the time Wayne's here, so I'm not going to wait for him to get it. I'm very curious about it. What I've tried seems okay. Adding vinegar and Marmite was not something I ever would have thought to do, but actually like it does make sense. The Marmite made it a little bit too salty, so I think I added a bit more water. I added the pasta water, which is silly because actually I put salt in the pasta water as well. But we'll see. We'll see how I find it in the end, and especially how Wayne finds it. It'll be very interesting. It does smell really good though, and I actually think it smells better than usual. The reason, by the way, that there's no onion is we have onions, and I chopped into one of them and it was very gross, and then I chopped into the other one and it was also very gross, and I am not going to the shops, so I was just like, right, we'll do it without onion. It's a shame, but we'll manage. So yeah, we'll see what all this is. I don't know if I just mentioned before, but I did some exercises for my knee pain from running. I've just finished that, so I'm gonna rest and ice it for now, and then I'm waiting for a message from Wayne, and that's when I'll start on the potatoes, and well, that's really it. I'm very glad I've done this already though. It's nice to like not have to worry about it. I've washed everything up except the 2 pots that they're in. So all I need to do is get the potatoes on once I know the timeline, and obviously the garlic bread shortly before Wayne actually gets in. I'm happy. I hope it works out okay, but I feel happy. I had laid the table and then I realized I'd laid it with big plates, and actually like I know I would prefer a bowl for this, so I'm leaving it for now and I'll wait and see what Wayne prefers. Anyway, I'm gonna rest for a bit, maybe edit or something, I don't know. And I will see you all soon. Bye! Hello. I've put the potatoes in, even though I'm not 100% convinced that's the right choice, but we'll see what happens. There are more potatoes than there were yesterday, so that's kind of why I did it. I then decided to start packing, because I haven't mentioned this at all because I didn't know the timeline, but now I do. I'm meeting the Dear Hopefuls in a few days, which is mental and so exciting. We're going up to a place near Chester, so I'm gonna meet Katie Rebecca somewhere on the way, and then we'll pick Sam up from the airport. I think she's flying into Manchester if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, I will vlog it all. It's very exciting. For those of you who don't know, the Dear Hopefuls we met, of all things, through Goodreads, obviously through Carrie Hope Fletcher, but there was like a Hopefuls page, and then on that there were, 1,000 sub-threads. And there were a few, and then at one point someone mentioned something about YouTube, and then I think it was Katie Rebecca started a new thread saying, should we start a sort of pen pal YouTube channel? And that's how Dear Hopefuls was born. And that was 9.5 years ago. My battery's about to die. So finally, after 9.5 years, we are making it happen. We're meeting up. We've spoken about it for so long. And even this year when we were like, let's do it, and we were starting to put dates in the calendar of when we were available, I was still convinced it wasn't going to happen. I was like, we're going to pick a date, but then we're not going to go beyond that. We're not going to book something in. We're not going to, Sam's not going to fly over from America. It's just not going to happen. So the fact that it is now happening in, 3 days time or something, it's just mental, and I'm so excited. But anyway, I've been thinking about packing, and I have had the time. It's just not been a priority, and it should be. I mean, I know some people pack very last minute, but I like to pack well in advance, and especially because I think it's unlikely that I'm going to do a wash between now and when I go, and so I really want to make sure that I'm not accidentally wearing clothes that I want to take with me, like my leggings, which is why I've been in jeans the last few days. Very strange. But I think I've more or less done everything now. I'm missing, toiletries, and which I need to remember, and shoes and jewellery if I'm even going to bother taking it. All those little bits and bobs, but the main clothes I've done. I don't know what I'm going to pack it in yet, so I've just put it in a temporary bag for now, but we'll see. So yeah, I've done that, and I don't know what I'm going to do now. I don't know. I feel a little bit in limbo because I think Wayne will be home in less than an hour. And so I don't really want to start, editing something or anything along those lines. I was maybe even going to film a video, but it doesn't feel right. So I'll probably either watch YouTube videos or go on my phone and play games or whatever. I started reading the Taylor Jenkins Reid book, Carrie Soto is Back, which we're reading sort of book club style with the hopefuls, and then we can hopefully discuss it when we're all together. And I was very much struggling with judging when I was going to start it because we all are trying to finish it like on the day that we meet up. And I know I'm a slower reader, so I thought, 4 days is even going to be a stretch, although I did know I will have time on the train. But I'm already a third of the way through. It's so good, and I want to keep reading it, but I'm really trying to pace myself, so I'm like, no, I'm not allowed to listen to any more of it tonight. But it's tough because I really want to. I'm very keen to get back into the world. It's all tennis themed, and I love that. But anyway, those are some of the thoughts and things that are happening at the moment. I will speak to you later. Bye. Everyone say happy birthday, Wayne. Happy birthday, Wayne.
Happy birthday, Wayne.
Not you.
Sorry.